Hey everyone, it's Jakov, and I'm here today with a video for Total War The Dawnless Days. Today's video in particular being a battle replay of me going head to head with the computer. Myself personally leading an army of the Dunlending tribe, specifically a gold tier 4 late game army, against an equivalent army fielded by Rohan. Today's video is meant to be a bit of a demonstration of what kind of army you could be expected to field and what type of foe you could be expected to face against in game. Now, given that the enemy is a PC, don't expect me or it to be busting out all types of crazy strategies and stuff. It's going to be a more straightforward kind of battle. So with all that said, let's check out both armies, put it into slow-mo, and we'll let it begin. So for starters, just looking aerially at the Dunlending force, you can see that I've decided to defend my flanks against the superior mobility of the Rohirrim by using caltrops and rocks to break up their charges, and stakes over there. So yeah, very much a way of limiting the greatest strength of the Rohirrim, and that's something you should always endeavour to do, is try and limit your enemy's strengths where possible. If numbers are their greatest strength, make them so they have to face you in a battle where their numbers don't mean much. If mobility is something the enemy is great at, put them in a situation where mobility isn't useful. If they're significantly better at you at range combat, bring the fight up to them. So, that said, let's check out the army of Dunland. So in the front row we've got the professional Dunherd archers looking absolutely amazing. Then behind them we've got the front line of the army, the Dunherd swordsmen. So we've got about 5 units of them. Very stout professional infantry. Behind them in support we've got a unit of the Blood Avengers, and then supporting them we've got 2 units of Dunherd Chosen, so all shock infantry to plug in any gaps. At the rear of the force we've got a couple of units of the Dunherd Marauders, and then the general unit for the army, the Champion Reavers, which are essentially the Blood Reavers on horseback. Very cool looking warriors. Turning to the Rohirrim force, and as you can see this is a battle on an open plain, which is somewhere where the Rohirrim absolutely excel at. On their right flank they've got the Knights of the Mark, a very heavy cavalry unit. Then in their front lines they've got the professional garrison of the Hornburg, who look absolutely stunning in their red armour, or red outfit I should say, a couple of units of them. And then behind them they've got the Aeoling Retainers, their professional swordsmen, a couple of units of them. So a fairly small, succinct infantry force. And then supporting them, more Knights of the Mark. Behind that, couple units of the Guard of the Golden Hall, their professional spearmen, and then at the far rear we've got a unit of the Knights of the House of Eorl, the heaviest shock cavalry that the faction can field, and among the heaviest in the game, in fact, if not the heaviest. So yeah, as you can see, one army is very much gone for infantry oriented build, whereas one has gone for a bit more of a mixed build, but not necessarily so. Like, this army has less heavy cavalry than you would expect, yet it's still fairly balanced. So yeah, there we have it. And because it's going to take a while for both armies to match up, I may as well just speed it up. We'll put it in play and see how it goes. Yeah, screw it, we're going to speed it up. We've returned, both armies are closing up, and archer fire has begun. Cavalry is storming forward. So yeah, they've got 2 axes of attack with their cavalry. Infantry in the front line. And yeah, they just slam right into it. And in response, the shock infantry deploys, kind of. Well, they deploy over here for certain. Yeah, essentially the strategy that's being used by the Dunlendings is interior lines. So they're using the forces in reserve to plug up any gaps when necessary, and relying on their front units, even if they're at a disadvantage, to soften the blow and to try and catch and hold the enemy. And here we've got just a long line of elite units fighting one another. We might put it into slow motion so we can see the combat a little bit better. There goes one man, stabbed right through. Archer fire everywhere. Right into the cavalry, which, yep, that's where you're going to want to focus it. The cavalry are by far the deadliest part of the Rohirrim force. I will say that the Rohirrim did make a bit of a tactical error here, in that they attacked head on instead of using their cavalry to go around the flanks, which, while that would have taken more time, is a more effective strategy all around. Given that the Dunlending force doesn't have any spearmen. That man's kidney just got sent to another dimension by that Bardash. And the fighting continues. And now it's happened. The Dunlending cavalry has gone around the flank. And you can probably guess what they're going to try to do here. And that is catch these horsemen out of the blue. Yeah. Very brutal match right now. And the Knights of the Mark are overmatched. Although, the Knights of the House of Yule have emerged, and they're significantly more dangerous. And now they're going straight for their lines and right into them. And by doing this, time has now been bought for the infantry clash to go in favour of the Dunlendings. However, the range support of the Rohirrim is quite lethal here. And the Dunland general is running a bit low on men, but now they're charging the Rohirrim general, and it's a general v general battle. Except the one general has an extra 2 units, but has more infantry, has more men in the unit, so could go either way. And just like that, they're pulling out because the infantry have joined up. Having achieved their goal of pinning down the cavalry. Oh, now their generals will be going to die. Nope, battle's gone right back again. And killing the general for either side really could be a massive battle win. You can see the front lines over there are bending in place. And yeah, the Knights of the House of Yule have pulled out. Smart. they could cycle around for another cavalry charge. And this unit of Dunlending Marauders isn't exactly in the healthiest of positions. All three of them aren't that healthy, but at this point it's worth it to try and that unit breaks and the Dunlending general dies, which may have just lost the entire battle for me there. But right afterwards, the Rohirrim general dies too, so it equals out again. And looking at the unit count, the Dunlending strength in numbers that was apparent at the beginning of the battle has proven even more so now. But they still have their general unit around, so they do have cavalry, which is something that Dunland lacks. In goes more shock infantry and swordsmen to try and break their line before their reinforcements can arrive. And they come, here come the Knights of the House of the Earl. And they countercharge them, which, while it's going to take a lot of casualties regardless of they being charged by these guys, it was better to countercharge because they were able to reduce the momentum of the charge. And that unit shatters. And now it's just their archers who are quasi-infantry and a few more units left. Almost all their units are done, and this full strength unit of garrison of the Hornbill is already wavering, and they shatter without even seeing any combat. And just like that, we have a Pyrrhic victory for Dunland. Okay, then with that done, we're going to check out the battle replay release, their stats, and see how both sides did. So looking at the Dunlending forces, yeah, they outnumbered the Rohirrim by a good 600 at the beginning of the battle, lost almost 900, came out of it with around 900, so yeah, they lost about 50% of their forces. The Rohirrim lost closer to 3/4 of their army. Yeah, pretty bad mauling. Looking at the Dunlending army, Champion Reavers got 49 kills, which isn't high, but given who they were fighting, it kind of makes sense. 64 kills for the Swordsman, 58, 91 for these guys is pretty good. 62 for these guys, not that great. 43, 172 is really damn good, but 27 for these guys is disappointing. 101 for the Blood Avengers isn't half bad. The Archers altogether didn't do that great. Like, this unit got 46, which is very, very mediocre. And then the Dunlending Marauders got 36 and 44. So overall, not too many units scored massively. Like, by far, MVP with these Dunherd Chosens, who got 172. The rest, not so much. Then looking at Rohan, their general unit got 122 kills, which is, you know, quite respectable. 173 for this unit of Retainers, which is fantastic. 72 and 87, not too bad. 48 and 51 isn't great. However, at the same time, they're spearmen, and their job isn't necessarily to kill, but more to hold. So it is a bit more understandable. 69 kills for these guys without it taking a single casualty. Not bad at all. 106 kills for them. It's passable. I'd say it's a fairly alright effort. 38 kills for these unit of Knights of the Mark isn't that great, but 98 kills is. So overall, I'd say the Rohirrim army didn't do too bad at all. So anyways, guys, there we have it. The battle replay is over. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. I know it might not seem like much to you, but for such a small channel, it is greatly appreciated. With that in mind, if you guys have enjoyed this video, we will have more similar videos coming out in the future. And if you guys want to send in battle replays for me to cover, feel free to send them to me either in my email, which is linked in my channel description, or send it to me over Discord, be it the Dawnless Discord server or the Last Alliance Discord server. Either one will do perfectly. Anyways, guys, I've hoped you've enjoyed this video from the bottom of my heart. And with that said, this is your host Jakov, signing out.